Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Friday Live. My name is Ashley Hay. I'm an artist and also the importer of Powertex for Australia. So today we are going to be talking about molded magic. So one of the really fabulous things about Powertex Universal Medium is that it will actually harden your fibres and fabrics. And so it just gives you so much scope to play with possibilities. So, of course, in this little series that I'm doing at the moment, What Can You Do with Fabric? I am showing you and highlighting a few possibilities. But of course, when we put together our creative brains, I am sure you guys will come up with some sensational work using Powertex Universal Medium over molds. And so what are the possibilities? So we're just looking at some of those today. So if you have any questions, please let me know along the way. And if you are joining me for What Can You Do with Fabric and you're focusing on fabric fibres and natural materials with your artwork at the moment, let me know in the chat. Also, let me know that you are here because I would love to hear from you and know that you're watching. So even if you're watching in replay, let me know. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, just shout out. So one of the things that in my arty past I have done is created wearable art, and it is a huge undertaking to do a wearable art garment because there are so many elements involved. And this particular one that I will show you right now, I'll just find the little slide for you and I'll pop it up on the screen. But this particular one was done in 2016, so it is a blast from the past, but it still is like I love this piece because I love nature, and this piece was called Luminous, and it is inspired by nature and the light that you get through the trees when you are actually looking up through the branches towards the sky, and how the shadows cast. So the actual piece itself wasn't necessarily about the sculptural form, whilst that is, of course, important. What I loved about this particular piece was when the body moved and the form moved, it cast incredible shadows on the ground and created beautiful pattern everywhere. So I love that. So one of the things that I wanted to particularly highlight in this piece is the balls that you can see in the piece on the headpiece. And they are also on the tail piece, which you can't see because they're behind her. But these particular balls were done over balloons using moulded forms. So I'm going to talk about those shortly. And the really nice thing about this was, again, the woven form that was moulded actually was very beautiful in terms of the shadows that it cast. I put LED lights into the molded balls, and so it just added another element altogether to the piece. So that is what we are talking about. We'll flash down to the art table here so that you can get an idea of these forms. So I lost my front camera just earlier, just before we started. So I'm on my secondary camera, so it's not set up great, but at least you can see me and hear me. And of course, we can talk about these forms. So what did I learn? What are some tips and tricks that I have for you guys with these forms? So Fiona, welcome. So she's just saying at last she got here on time. And Anne, yeah, thank you. So I'm glad you love my wearable art piece. So I did do another one as well, which was called Nature's Call, which was actually inspired by the ocean. Okay, so let's take a look at this form. So this was basically formed using Powertex Universal Medium, and I did it over a balloon. So they're not perfectly round, but like I say, that woven form is really lovely, and they are solid. So, you know, now that they're dry, they're really, really solid. And this one, of course, is done the same way, but then it is finished with the metallic pigments like I did on the wearable art piece. So this is actually black and the terra green in the pigments, and I did the whole piece with terra green. I love the terra green, so it is very, very beautiful. So you can imagine that when there's light in there, how those woven forms actually cast. So it's simply ribbon X, which is like a big shoelace. So this is ribbon X here, and wound around a balloon, and then I put another element of some string onto it as well. So I did need to leave a little bit of an opening so that I could get the balloon out. But as well as that, you know, I could have used any of these openings, but because I wanted to insert lights, I really didn't mind that I had a definite opening in that form, which was visible because it would end up sitting actually like that with the lights going up inside with the plugs going into it. So what did I learn from doing this? I learned several things. I actually, like I say, I did the form over a balloon, and what happened overnight was the balloon actually deflated, and because the form wasn't hard, it actually pulled the form out of shape, and so it was no longer a ball. I got in the morning and I went, oh my goodness, what has happened? I had this crunched up balloon on the inside which had deflated, and all the form had actually pulled in as well because it wasn't dry. But as well as that, it had actually stuck to the rubber of the balloon a bit. So what did I learn? I learned that I needed some sort of release agent on the balloon, and also maybe a different form to mould it on is better. So I've actually got a little chi ball now which stays inflated until you pull the plug out of it, and then it will deflate. A little bit of vegetable oil sprayed onto that will also create a little bit of resistance off of the form so that the moulded fabric actually doesn't stick to the form and you can't get it to deflate and remove it. So a few tips there. So what did I do with my collapsed form? I didn't give up on them altogether. What I did was I got the collapsed form, I reinserted a new balloon. Before I did that, I heated the form up slightly because it had dried, collapsed overnight to touch dry. So I heated it up, and then I inserted a new balloon which I inflated and pushed the form out, and I ended up with my forms round again. So there you go. We do need to problem solve as artists. So if you try something in theory that, you know, should work, basically it's a case of thinking through the properties of the medium that you're using, which in this case is Powertex Universal Medium, which is going to harden fibres and fabrics and is going to harden like rock once it fully dries, so that you can then put it you know, out in the environment, or in this case, under stage lights. So it was really important that it was fully hardened and dried before it went under the heat of the stage lights, otherwise it would all just have flopped. So very important to know your materials, and that's where I hope these Friday lives will actually help and just give you some ideas. So there is an artist in France. I will post something and share something from her this week so that you guys can see some of the beautiful work that she does, that uses lace and does the most delicate form over molds. Mine are very industrial, and as I said last week, I'm not a fabric person, but I love playing with form. I love playing with ideas, and I have so many ideas. I just never seem to run out of them. So for me, it's about getting the ideas down without being stopped by you know, fabric techniques, because I'm not a textile artist. So I do love the textures and layering that you can get with different fabrics and fibres over moulds, and there is a lot of beautiful artwork that has been done, some really beautiful off-the-wall stuff. I am looking forward to doing some more moulded things this year, because I am intent to have a play. So, and I will share that with you as we go through Friday Live. Okay, so let's talk moulded form. Let's take a look at it. So I've explained that if any of you have any questions about it, just ask, but you could also try. Of course, if you want to do a massive one, you could do a massive one on a fit ball, but I recommend doing something smaller to start with. The chi ball is a nice size, so it's just a little bit bigger than these. It probably inflates to about that big, and it is really you know, a nice size to start with. But for those of you who are clever out there, you could do a beautiful crocheted domed form that you then harden over a mould. So there are so many possibilities. And of course, last week I shared the work of Beth, who had crocheted some shapes, and I shared how they had hardened with the Powertex. So possibilities are endless. If you are clever with your fibres and fabrics, then go for it. Have a play. What can you do with fibres and fabrics, and start having some fun with that. Alrighty, I'm going to move these out of the way, because today I am going to do a little bit of a demonstration for you. And so I'll just move this up here. And so this is moulded into the light fitting that I showed you the other week. I've got a little bit of a start on it, but I thought I would share with you today, just as I go, making this moulded vessel. So let's crack on to that. We'll zoom on down to a bit of a closer look at the art table, and then we will get cracking. Okay, so of course this is beautiful Paperdeco, which is my first layer that I've got happening on here. Now I have used the natural Paperdeco. Hang on, doesn't want to grab. So this is how it comes when you receive it in your packet. It is available from Powertex Art Supplies, so you will get that through Powertex. It comes in natural or white. Some countries have a range of different colours, which are dyed colours, which are also very beautiful. I've got a few different colours here in Australia that are available, like a lime green and a dark green, which are nice. So That's the Paperdeco. Now, what you need to know about the Paperdeco is that it is essentially a natural fibre, so it is actually mulberry wood. This one has been torn, and you can see how fibrous it is when it's torn. So to avoid that fibre, you know, having that torn look, you can actually spray mist it with water. So I find giving the Paperdeco a good mist actually means that I can split that Paperdeco and I don't have to work with the entire piece. In this case, I want to have it so that it actually is quite dense without being really, really dense. So this particular piece is actually really thick. Ordinarily, I would probably split that piece down through here, and you can see that I can actually shred, especially if I do it carefully, some really nice shapes off of there, and I can get these sort of really organic shapes off the back of some of this Paperdeco. Paperdeco is absolutely beautiful to use. Like I say, it is a mulberry wood. If you live in Australia, you can get beautiful paper bark off the ground, you know, in various places. And you just want to work out, you know, where you're putting this shape. Now, remembering this texture is going to be the texture that you see on the bottom. So it's going to be underneath the actual physical form. So we're not going to see a lot of what's already in here. We will probably see a little bit of it, but essentially this form is going to be seen from underneath. So we're creating that outside shape. So what is important when you're doing the moulded form is that you actually give your piece integrity. So in order to do that, we also want to go across the piece. So I'm going to lay some around the edges, and then we are going to lay some sort of across so that it kind of cross hatches itself. Okay, so actually applying the Powertex, you will find that you could actually take your entire piece like this and dip it into your Powertex. Personally, I prefer to get a bit of form and fibre happening. I love it when I get these torn holes. I really, really enjoy that. And when it's stretched and it's kind of going fibrous, that's when I will spray mist it, because I find that it actually teases apart without tearing so much when you actually spray mist it. So you can see, like, that's a really beautiful piece. It is quite fibrous because I have pulled it when it wasn't fully wet. But if I tease it, spray mist it and tease it, you get the most gorgeous texture with this material that is just absolutely stunning. So how do we apply the Powertex to this? You do it the easiest way possible. So whatever is easiest for you is what you actually want to do. So what I find in this instance to be easy is just to wear some gloves and massage that Powertex into the Paperdeco. So what happens, of course, is the Powertex is a liquid, and so it actually also softens the Paperdeco as you go, so you can kind of tease it apart further just by, as you are massaging that Powertex into the Paperdeco. Sorry, just make sure I'm holding this over the camera. So I basically massage it in, and like you see, because it is liquid, it actually teases apart further when you massage that Powertex in, and of course it is going to really harden those fibres and fabrics and just be absolutely beautiful. So if I want to, I can just keep, you know, teasing that and making that shape bigger. Or I can use it so that it's really nice and dense and gives strength to my vessel. Now, if I wanted to conserve my Paperdeco, I could actually use some thick paper to form some of the moulded bowl as well. I would just need to do a layer of moulding underneath so that I've got an interesting outside texture. But the nice thing about doing it this way is you're going to see the Paperdeco on both sides, depending on how much you cover the interior of that bowl. So you could actually have it so that you're not covering up all the Paperdeco on the inside. So not only do you see some of it outside, but you get that layered, beautiful layered texture on the inside as well. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm really looking for any areas that haven't been covered with the Powertex, and I'm just massaging it into those areas. So this Powertex, of course, is the Powertex Universal Medium in blue. It dries to the most beautiful deep blue colour, and when you then embellish it with metallic pigments, it just looks absolutely stunning. So the blue is absolutely beautiful. It's great to have the blue in your kit because, of course, you can intermix all your colours. And so if you've got blue, red and yellow, they're your primary colours. You can play around with some colour mixing as well, which is always fun. Okay, so I'm going to pop that piece onto here. And just what I want to do is I want it to have like a nice edge to it that is interesting. So I don't want it to be a really stiff edge. If I miss any bits with my Powertex, I can always go back in with the brush later and actually brush it up. So let's get some Powertex onto this piece. It's beautiful. Who loves the blue? I certainly do. The blue is gorgeous. So the blue, I'm thinking of putting rich gold onto the blue, so the rich gold will really contrast with the deep blue, and it should look really stunning. So of course you can use a range of colours. You don't have to just use one colour. In the same way as we're layering the textures, fabrics and fibres, you could play with transparent and layered colours of fabrics and fibres. It does complicate things a bit, so sometimes when you're learning, it's good to keep things simple. So, you know, if you're playing with texture, to just really focus on the element of texture is really, really nice without having to worry about, you know, am I putting the right colour down? All you're thinking about is you're thinking about your textural layers. Oh, I've got myself in a tangle here. Doesn't matter too much. I'll just keep going. So I could tear that off so that I've got two bits if it starts to annoy me that it's all a bit tangly. But at this stage, I want my pieces to be quite large for the bottom of the vessel. And I want the fibres to really have enough Powertex in the fibres that they're really going to create strength and integrity of the vessel. So if you have done moulded fabrics and you have used moulded form in your artworks, I would love to see those. So please share them on the Powertex Australia Creative Hub and hashtag Moulded Magic and Powertex. And of course, make sure you tag me in so that I can see what you have done. So I would love that. I would love to see what you guys have done with the fibres and fabric. All right. So I have this very beautiful textural piece. I am going to tear it apart because I can. I'm going to take this bit into here. Okay, so I would keep going with that. I might just do a couple more pieces and then we will move on to something else within the vessel and layering with the fibres. So it's very fibrous magic is what we... I'll just see if I can move this up onto the camera a bit more. There we go. All right. So this, again, is quite a dense piece. So it's a few mils thick, actually. And so I'm just going to cover it with Powertex. And as I cover it, I'm also going to tease it apart a little bit. You will find that you can, like, make this Paperdeco go a long way, and it depends, like I said earlier, what you're sort of looking to do with your piece. So I'm just going to tease this. Oh, shredding, pulled it a bit hard. Now you can paint the Powertex on, you can dip the whole piece into the Powertex. Like I say, I just find I've got more control over the shape and texture if I do it like I'm doing it now. If I painted it, it would take me forever, whereas just using my fingers like this is quite tactile and lovely, and also you know, you get good coverage and you can kind of feel how you're pulling the texture and creating the sculptural form as you go. So it's very tactile, very beautiful to do, and very relaxing. Oh, Anne, you know me so well. Anne's just saying, what, no red? Look, red, wouldn't red be beautiful with this too? Of course, we've got to have some red. So ocean blues and red, of course we need red. Who doesn't need red in their lives, right? Oh, that's funny. Okay, I'm getting some nice layering here now, and I'm feeling happy with how that is progressing. I have got a damp cloth here, so I can wipe that Powertex off my hands so I don't get it everywhere. And I have a brush as well. So if you find that you've got any bits that, you know, you can see that it just needs a bit more Powertex because the Paperdeco is popping through, you can just work that in. And of course, doing that, you're getting that Paperdeco really moulding to the form. So I'm pushing that texture down a little so that it's getting the outside form. I'm not going to do it too much because I actually really like some of these lovely bits that are sticking up. So kind of pull some of those up again as well. So long as it's got the integrity in the overall form, that's what we want. All right, and get some of these lovely hairy bits pulling away so it's beautiful and organic and has some really lovely movement. All right, so you can see I could keep going to my heart's content with the Paperdeco. I could probably do a little bit more, but I will show you a little bit of the Ribbonex. So I'm going to do it on this piece that is quite dense here. And of course, the Ribbonex itself is actually going to create form in the layers and also give it strength. So the other week you saw that I had plaited some of this. So Ribbonex is essentially like a big shoelace. What is really nice is t-shirt yarn. It comes in a roll, but it's sort of got a hollow tube, which is really nice, and it just is, you know, gets beautiful form. All right, so we are going to just go for this. And there's the red, and look at that. It is contrasting nicely with the blue, so we can see when it's covered, which is actually really good. Massage that through there. Probably I will get a tinge of that red coming through, which of course is then going to make the blue look purpley, which could be quite nice too. All right, so we need some more blue Powertex. We want to cover this pretty well. Anne's laughing away, doing the laughy emojis. So there you go. I had pre-prepared some red, Anne. No surprises there, right? Do love red. And so I want to, again, get that Powertex into the fibres. And so I'm really massaging it in. It's going to harden these fabrics and fibres. I have got the Ribbonex in white, but because I'm doing the blue over the top of it, I thought it'd be nice to use the red. And I can always paint some more blue Powertex on it if I don't like the colour once it dries, but I'm sure it will be a lovely. And that's the whole serendipity of it, isn't it? Is where you go, oh, I might just try that. What happens if I do that? And so, you know, that's where all your creativity comes out to play, is in those what if questions. And, oh, I've done that now. Look what's happened. What can I do next? Where can I get Ribbonex? Where are you, Fiona, in the world? You can Google Ribbonex online, but like I say, t-shirt yarn is really beautiful, and I know that you can Google that. Ribbonex was a brand that came out years ago, and I got so much of it because I loved it, and thankfully, because I can't now find it again. I believe it originally came from one of the European countries, Ribbonex, and none of my Ribbonex actually has the maker on it anymore. I've just got it in these separate rolls that are unbranded, so I can't even remember the brand to be able to tell you. So Fiona, you're in Brisbane. I do know you can get t-shirt yarn. Spotlight used to stock it. Sometimes you'll see it in the $2 shops, but if you go online and just put t-shirt yarn in, you'll be able to find a supplier online where you can grab some t-shirt yarn. And the t-shirt yarn is actually nicer to use. I know at one stage, Natalie at Bag End Studio in Yaringapilly, I know I'm pretty sure she had some Ribbonex at one point, but I doubt that she's got any left, but she might have something similar in the way of t-shirt yarn or something, so she'd definitely be worth asking. So Natalie Fiona is in Yaringapilly and runs beautiful Powertex workshops there. Her art is absolutely stunning. She is definitely, you know, someone that you want to connect with, and of course you can get your art supplies from her as well from Bag End Studio. Okay, so I could put a bit more on those ends. I'll just swipe that out of the container, but I've pretty much got that covered. Sitting my bowl in the middle there. And again, I'll just wash my hands off. So I love to recycle my gloves. I try and make my gloves last. I don't like taking them off with Powertex on them. I find that if I do that, then I can't reuse them. Whereas if I give them a quick wash and make sure I take them off so they don't go inside out, I can actually keep reusing those until they're pretty much destroyed. All right, so what I like to do is I like to dip and, you know, use the Powertex creative brain is coming out to play. I like to dip and use the Powertex with my gloves on, and then when I'm arranging things, I like to get in and feel it with my fingers. So I could give this dimension, but I'm going to use it to strengthen that as well. Go in there, do a little bit of a twiddle around. So I do like it. It's kind of looks cool folded over. Got about 3 of these pieces to inlay in here. Okay, and then I've also got these beautiful bits that are left over on the ends here, so I can play with these as well. drawing. It's like just like drawing, really. Except I can move everything and move the marks, so which is kind of nice. Okay, so I can go into this holy bit here. I want to create a bit of strength over that hole. Bring this piece around, and I can follow some of the textures that are already happening in the piece as well. I'll actually come down into there, play around on there. Wash my hands off. You're welcome, Fiona. So Fiona's just saying thanks. Natalie, I think has, she's got some beautiful sculpture workshops coming up. So there you go. So you can see how that Ribbonex is sneaking on through there. And next week I will show you how to demold this bowl or vessel, and we will do that. So we'll demold, and I'll probably have something else new to show you as well. So I'll work on that a little bit this week. So of course I've got my Paperdeco that I can still add in. I have some more bits that I have actually plaited, so I will continue to do a few other patterns with some of the plaits. And then I've got a whole stack of just random bits of Ribbonex, which I will use to just analyse and do some organic pattern towards the end. So the nice thing is that I can continue to manipulate that. It's quite handy to use tools when you're doing your manipulation. So kebab sticks are brilliant. Sometimes your finger can just be too big to be able to get things to sit properly. But sometimes it's really nice, just the randomness of what you get when you first drop it down as well. So, that can be really, really lovely. Okay, everyone, so there we go, some moulded magic. And Anne's just saying, have a great arty weekend. Thank you, Anne. For the next few weeks, I will be doing some pre-recordings of Friday Live because those of you who know me know that I am going in to have another op soon, but I would really like to keep Friday Live going. So I will be live with you in the chat on Fridays, and because my brain isn't going to want to work and my legs won't be able to stand, I will be doing some pre-recording of the videos. So it will be fun, and I will still be there with you. So thank you, Anne, and thank you everyone for watching and for joining me. And I love spending Friday Live with you. So my hope is that you have a wonderful creative weekend. I have a triptych workshop tomorrow, which I always love. And of course, today in Australia is Anzac Day, celebrating the Anzacs. So to all Australians, thinking of you this Anzac Day and thinking about our Anzacs. All right. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you again next week for some more Friday Live fun. Don't forget to join us on the Powertex Australia Creative Hub, and that's where I would love to see your artwork that you do over mould. So if you're joining me for this wonderful little celebration of what can you do with fabric and Powertex and fibres, I would love to see your creations there. And of course, if you want to watch replays, you can watch all the replays to your heart's content on our YouTube channel. And of course, if you need some art supplies, go to a trainer near you or go and shop at powertex.com.au in Australia, or other websites around the world if you're in another country. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I will see you again next time. Ciao for now. Ciao.